Is this thing on? Welcome to Rebooted the podcast. I'm your host, Alita Hernandez. Come join me weekly to hear about my journey from recovery to healing after having a stroke and other life challenges. So let's get talking. Hi, welcome everybody. Your host, Alita Hernandez here at Rebooted the podcast. Again here on Tuesday, June 14th. So just wanted to open up today just to give you a little bit more information. I did update my website, rebootedthepodcast.com. You can listen to the podcast there and also have links to all my platforms. I'm on Amazon Music, I'm on iHeart Radio, Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, Pandora. So just look for us there and please subscribe so we can build this community even more and I can get to be able to help other people out there. I really appreciate that. And just to let you know, so Rebooted, I am here to serve you. That is my mission, is to serve you. And with my real life experiences and other guests that I come in also that have real life experiences that can help you and aid you in your overall wellness when it comes to body, mind, spirit, and soul. So it's basically encompassing everything because you have to work on your whole body in order to get well. So it's not just like exercise, but then you don't eat right, or I don't know, not sleep and try to work, 20 hours a day. You have to balance it out. You can't have one or the other. So you have to balance everything in your life, your thoughts, your positive thoughts always, and live your best life out there. And talking about having a best life, so later on in a few minutes when we have our quick break on Club Secret commercial, it is an amazing VIP membership club. I'm using some of the products there. I'm using some of the skincare products. And yesterday, my guest Paul, that's here again today, we were on radio yesterday, said I was glowing. So I guess that's working pretty good. No wrinkles at 57, okay? And counting, young, 57 young. So age is just a number. Even though my body sometimes tells me otherwise, okay? But it's all how you think and how you feel. I try to stay young at heart, young in mind, and just enjoy my life, and especially since I'm a caregiver as well, sometimes it's quite difficult. I'm not always smiling, okay? So, I'm real, just like you. So I have my days. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, I don't feel like working out at all, but I know it's gonna help me. So I decide, you know what? As much as I might have a little headache or I'm a little tired, I know that if I go do my walk, and I usually try to walk about 3 miles, I know I'll feel better. So I start the walk and I just put my brain and say, I'm good, I feel great, I'm going for my walk. And I decompress, I de-stress also. That way I can pray, I can meditate as I walk and think about my day. And it just really helped me. It's helped me balance that out. Since I care for my mother and my aunt, and they have some memory issues, they're already in their 80s, so it's kind of common. But it gets tiring sometimes when somebody's repeating things like over and over and over again. So it's like saying this flower is yellow, and then you already said the flower is yellow, and you see it's yellow, but the person keeps asking, "Is this flower yellow? Is this flower yellow?" It does something to you. It does something to your psyche. It really does. So I have to deflate the balloon a little bit, try to deal with this different thing, because there's no manual. So later on when my guest comes on, Paul Solomon, he's from Luhu Advisors, that is Let Me Help You Advisors, and he's an awesome person. He brings great knowledge, and he's a licensed broker, he's a licensed insurance agent, and his mission is helping the elderly and helping them, live quality of life till the end, with different things like long-term care and having Social Security and Medicaid benefits to aid in their transition, because it's a transition that nobody talks about. And I see it, like I said, taking care of my mother and my aunt, that nobody guides you with this. It's like when you have a child, even though there's tons of books out there, there's no really manual, you know what I mean? Like step by step, do A, then do B. No, because every person's different and everybody's personality is different. So you have to mold like clay in order to help other people. But anyway, we will be right back with Paul Solomon, and we'll continue this conversation after this Club Secret commercial.
Let's be honest. When you want this VIP lifestyle 24/7, or at least almost 24/7, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Now there is Club Secret, the ultimate lifestyle membership. Our VIP global brand is centered around helping people look better, feel better, and experiencing the world. We have proven world-class self-care products to enhance your outer self so you look like a VIP. We have the ultimate premium supplements and plant-based nutrition to give you the cleanest energy to help you go throughout your day so you feel like a VIP. Being a part of Club Secret enables you to experience the world like you never have before through our wholesale booking platform, luxury vacation homes, villas, cruises, and our flagship group curated escapes to the most exciting parts of the world. And we don't stop there. You are a VIP, and we want to make sure you always feel that way. We give you access to memorable experiences with VIP events centered around F1 racing, Wimbledon, Kentucky Derby, the Open, NFL, NBA, NHL, and more. Like VIP packages to the most popular concerts and festivals that we all know and love. Club Secret gives you savings on other lifestyle benefits such as telemedicine to save you time and money, popular retail brand partners, and more. So for less than Starbucks cup of coffee a day, we want you to have the VIP life every day, not just every once in a while. What's in the membership again? You get 30% off all premium product lines, save time and money at telemedicine, having a doctor access 24/7, wholesale hotel booking engine, curated escapes, VIP experiences, brand partner discounts, loyalty points on most things purchased in the community, and more. So if you want to claim your VIP status now in our ultimate lifestyle community, text or direct message the person back immediately that had you watch this video to learn more.
Hi, everybody. I hope you liked that Club Secret commercial. I'm sitting here with Paul Solomon. Nice
Hello.
to have you.
Thanks for having me.
We were talking yesterday on radio, and we started discussing several things. But before we start that, I just want to make a little comment about the Club Secret commercial. It is a VIP membership lifestyle club. It's amazing. It's like when you have your Amazon membership, so you pay a monthly membership fee and you get all these discounts for VIP experiences around the world. It's not just like here in Florida or just the United States. So you can go to different things, experiences that usually you wouldn't be able to get to. We had Formula One here in Miami, and through Club Secret, you can get tickets to go to the VIP for Formula One. It was amazing down here. But anyway, just if you want more information about this, please send me a message on any platform I'm on, Instagram, Facebook. You can send me an email at info@rebootedthepodcast.com, and I'll let you know more about it. And you can take a trip with us. We're going to DR, I think, Punta Cana, all inclusive. So, but anyway, I will continue now with Paul. Yesterday we were talking about you have your company called Luhu Advisors, which is
Right.
Let Us Help You.
Correct.
And you spoke about, you do insurance, you do real estate. I mean, there's a lot of gamma there. And just let everybody know, so how did you get started with Luhu?
It all started 13 years ago with my parents, which a lot of people in the industry dealing with seniors, it always starts with your parents. You're not happy with the care, you're not happy where they're living, and you want to try and find answers on how to help them. And I was in the same situation. My dad just started showing signs of dementia, and he kind of said to my mom, "Here, you take care of of our financials," of which she never did. So then she called me and said, you need to help us. And when I was given the book to look through to see what they have, where everything is, I realized that my dad didn't have long-term care, but my mom did. And she didn't even realize what she had. She was just paying the insurance premium every month, not realizing what it was really going to cover. So that was kind of my first client, my first situation where I really had to dive into what they had financially, to understand their real estate. And I just started, from them, friends and family started asking me more questions about it. So I'm a licensed real estate broker. I'm a licensed insurance agent with life, long-term care, and annuities. I'm a licensed assisted living administrator, and I got that so I could understand the whole world of assisted living, independent living. And I'm a certified senior advisor. And what that does is really encompass everything that I touch within the senior world. And it really starts with the baby boomers. It's the adult children that, like myself, like yourself,
Exactly.
that really don't know what to do, who to turn to. And I was in that same situation, and you talk to 10 different people, you get 10 different opinions. And again,
That's true,
I
too.
tried so hard, and then finally I'm like, you know what, let me just dive in completely. And that's how I got involved with VA benefits, and then I got involved with Medicaid benefits, and I work with an elder law attorney, I work with the CPAs, I work with financial
That's
advisors.
a lot of information.
Yeah,
And it
but
can get very complex because there's so many things, especially dealing with the government and what you can, what you qualify, what you don't qualify, kind of thing like that.
correct. So I mean, that's kind of, it takes a team. And I have a team that works with me because I can't
okay.
I can't do everything. So I have the attorney and I have an assistant that does the Medicaid portion of
Okay,
it.
very good.
Real estate is myself and my wife. And when it comes to the insurance, I have a company that's a national company that's behind me that helps me understand what really is available, what we really need to do to qualify people either for long-term care or for the Medicaid benefits.
That's wonderful. And I met Paul, and it's a blessing that I met him because unless you go through something, why is it that we always wait until we go
Right.
through something? They're like, no, what do I do now? So my whole house had COVID in December during that Christmas, like the 24th to the 31st. And so they had to go to the hospital, and I didn't really want to take them, but they were sick. They had pneumonia. I had to take them to the hospital.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen when I get to the hospital? I'm trying to find the paperwork. I didn't have it when I went there.
Right.
And, it's like I felt like they were telling me that I lose my rights when I drop off my mother or my aunt at the hospital. I'm like, excuse me, but I'm her only daughter. Like, what do you
Right.
mean I'm losing my rights or she's losing her rights? Like, they're trying to take ownership of them. I'm like, oh, no.
Right.
Went home, dug for everything. I had a health proxy, which basically says if the patient is not capable of making their own decisions about their medical information or medical treatment, then they give authority to somebody else to make those decisions for them, which would be me. And since I had that, treatment is totally different when you have the actual documentation signed and notarized and
Right.
everything like that. So, these are things that I had to learn. I'm still learning. So that's great that I met you, and we're going to sit down and deep dive into my family stuff because they have insurance. I have insurance policies. I don't know what
Yeah,
they're
even though
for. She's
right.
paying for stuff. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, we take a look at it, everything. And the first thing I really do with a family is find out who is the power of attorney. Do they have a power of attorney? And how old is the power of attorney? And is it from Florida? Is it from a different state? Because so many people move down here. So that's the first document.
Wow,
and
that's
that could
another
save
thing.
that could save a family a lot of time, grief, and the government stepping in, because if you don't have a power of attorney and you just think, well, I'm the son of the daughter, so I have rights,
Yeah,
you don't.
you don't.
And that's where guardianship could come in. And you don't really want to be involved in the guardianship because then the government's involved,
Right.
and then you have to answer to them.
And they
there's
want to
certain
take
rules.
a piece of the pie.
They're going to. It's
They're
going
always
to
gonna
cost
take.
the cost and time, and you can't make decisions on your own anymore. So the legal documents, the most important thing. Everybody should check on the legal documents of their loved ones.
Right.
Make sure they're updated. Make sure the power of attorney has been updated, and even now these days, make sure there's a successor to the power of
Right.
attorney. Because let's say if you're either on vacation or you get sick or something happens to the power of attorney, you got to have the backup.
Right. You have to
And
have another third.
And a lot of them don't.
Right. And a lot of thing also is, I've learned this too, when my uncle passed away, my aunt's husband, he died like 15 years ago. I don't know what she did. I mean, she was good back then. Her, brain was fine and everything. So she probably have taken him off, but I don't know. Like, I don't even know
Right.
none of this stuff. I don't know if my mother's on there because she's the only sister.
Right.
And then I'm on there. And then I have 2 boys. So I
Right.
always tell them I got to update them with the paperwork because I'm only on it right now. I need to put you down, or my husband down, like, separating, because it's real estate. When you got real estate, funds in the bank,
Right.
insurance, there's all these pieces, right? And then you got to make sure you got all the legal documents that says, okay, I can take in charge of everything.
Right.
If not,
And
somebody else will.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I mean, again, things just need to be updated, like you said, beneficiaries. So that's, if it's not the legal documents, the next question I said is, okay, who's the beneficiary of these accounts? And you'd be surprised how many people, whether it's through divorce or being, somebody that's underage, that really should be taking control. They never change that. So again, I say, okay, who's the beneficiary of your bank accounts, your financial accounts?
Right.
A lot of times, a lot of people put their adult children and add them onto the account. And that's an easy way, but not the right way, of transferring what you think you're transferring, the assets. Because if you put a son or daughter onto your account, and God forbid the son or daughter gets into a lawsuit,
Right.
that account that their name is on can be dragged into the lawsuit. Okay, so you think you own, well, I own 50-50 because there's two names? No, it all depends. Like if I do Medicaid planning and you're on your mom's account, your mom still owns 100% of it, even though your name is on that account. So it's not 50-50, doesn't mean she has
there's
less.
all these little fine print.
Right, and then there's Medicaid, then there's the IRS, and then there's different aspects of it, what counts, what doesn't count with the planning.
Wow.
So long-term care is something that I'm promoting more than ever. And you can actually get it up until the age of 80 to 85, but it depends on your health. So the younger you are, the easier and less expensive it is to get. But I try to get long-term care for my dad at the age of 79, and I could have gotten it for him.
Right.
But what the insurance company does is they have knockout questions.
Oh.
And my dad, I know, had two, and if you had a third one, then you couldn't get it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was his dementia
Right.
that killed the whole process. But at 79, I would have been able to get him up to $400,000 of long-term care coverage. But again, we waited too late.
Right.
And that was, again, it's because I wasn't involved. So it's hard sometimes to let the adult children into the world of your assets, real estate, and everything going on, because it's old school.
Yeah.
And the old school, they don't want you to know anything until they're dead.
Right.
And unfortunately, they don't understand that it gets very expensive at the end between health and dying is not cheap.
Yeah, they don't understand none of that. I don't know when my grandmother died and my uncle died, I know my uncle had all his paperwork. And then the other day, I was, because we all moved in together because of COVID. So I lived with my mother and my aunt. And I kept asking them, where's the documents? They don't remember anymore.
Right.
So I'm trying to go through the file cabinet, and I open up the closet, the hallway closet, little coat closet that this has been there for, who wears a coat here, right?
Right.
So I open up, and there's a little metal box, and I go, oh, all the papers. It was like gold. I got all the life insurance. I have all the everything. So I'm like, oh, good. So I just left it alone there because they don't know. I'm like, shh, don't say nothing, Now I know where all the paperwork is. So when you come, I got all that I can take out and we can figure out, at least that's for my aunt.
Right.
And then my mother's another one. So
yeah, there's a lot to it, and people just don't realize. And unfortunately, no one pre-plans. Right?
No, I didn't. I really didn't.
You'll make a reservation, you'll make your next vacation plans, but no one wants to pre-plan for this going forward. And unfortunately, it's always a crisis mode that kicks in.
Well, it's when somebody passes. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people out there probably lost a loved one in the last couple of years due to illness and COVID or whatever, because there's been a lot of different things. But how many of you out there are not prepared? We're not prepared. I bet you more than 50% at least.
Easy.
If not up to 75%, because people don't know. And funerals, I mean, for me, everything is like a scam. Like everything.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, but to pay $20,000 for a funeral, why? I'm sorry. I'm just my personal opinion.
Well, it runs on emotion, unfortunately. They know you're coming in.
Exactly.
They want to show you 16 different coffins, and then you're not going to put your loved one in a pine box. So right away you're going up to another $5 or $10 grand just for the box that no one's going to ever see again. So to pre-plan, and I had to do that with my own parents. I had to take them by their hair and drag them into the funeral home so that we can do the pre-planning.
Wow.
While we walked out, they're like, yeah, maybe you were right. Maybe we should have done this. And now that my dad has passed away, it was seamless. And we had to fly my dad up to New York, and the whole funeral home took care of everything.
Right, because you did it before.
And we did it before, and I'm sure it would have been 50% more if I didn't do it before.
Right, exactly.
So it's definitely.
And you have so many options. So it's always to understand too. I mean, I don't know too much, but I've been in several funerals, death in family. So there's a lot of different options, and it's not a funny thing when somebody dies, but I have to throw in a joke. And so, because when my grandmother's brother died, so he was living in California, well, before I continue the story, we're gonna go to a quick break, so I don't want to stop in the middle of my show, my story. So we're gonna just take a quick commercial and we'll be right back and continue with that story.
Welcome to AMP2 TV, the first and only internet production company that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet radio, TV production company, discover AMP2 TV. AMP2 TV is a full-service media company that can provide all streaming videos, video studios, radio studios, and television studios. Call us today at 866-224-5422, for no business is too small to grow to be accounted. It's time for your message to be seen. Let AMP2 TV help get you there.
So, continuation. So my story is, I called him my uncle. He was my grandmother's brother. He had passed away. I was living in California, and I took care of him back, I don't even know, it was like 80s probably, or early 90s. I was taking care of him in California, and he got sick, and he went to the hospital, and he drove with all his precious belongings in the car. Okay. Unfortunately, he passed away in the hospital, and family members were already digging through his gold. The poor thing, he had say one nugget, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they're like, what are you doing? The guy's not even, he's still warm. Why are you, who cares about this stuff?
Right.
Of course, now I'm left with, we have to bury him.
Right.
So I'm like, what? I didn't know anything. My aunt was a branch manager at a bank for most of her life. So she's always been good with numbers and all that stuff. That's why now seeing her lose her memory is really sad, because she was always very, very a supervisor. So she's very stern, and she gets like that sometimes still now. Like, I'm the boss. Right. I'm like, you're not bossing me, But I had to go to the funeral parlor in California and decide on coffins and all this stuff. And I really, emotionally, it was very difficult. And I got upset about it, because you are in a really emotional state, and not everybody, we're not prepared to deal with death. Right. We're not taught that either. Right. We're not taught how to deal with death or grief, or what do you do? And for them to asking, which box you want, and they're like, this one's 5,000, this one's 2,000, this one's 500. Now, I knew him in the sense of, he was a no frills kind of guy. Right. Okay, he was an entertainer, but he was like, and I lost it with my aunt and my mother at the funeral home. I was like, hold on a second. Uncle wouldn't want this. He was a no frills kind of guy. He's going in the ground. Right. Why do we need silk inside and lace? I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense to me. But
that's the upsell.
So yeah, they're upselling. They're trying to, do you want this color? You want that color? Does he have to have a suit? Right. What? Right. He's dead. I'm sorry. I'm not being emotionless, but it's just the reality of it. Right. It's the reality of it. You're going in the ground, so you're going to pay $5,000 for mahogany, casket with silk fabric through it and lace running through it, so he can rot in the ground. I don't know about you, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense to me either. But people do it, unfortunately. So
it's a part of the society that's what you're supposed to do. Right. And I know there's different options. You even have the option legally to bury a person on your own property.
Correct.
And I looked that up. They have these pods, natural, that you just dust to dust, ashes to ashes, and you just go in the dirt, and that's it.
Yeah, down here it's a little harder just because of the homeowners associations, and then depending on the property size, it gets a little tricky. And
we don't have really. If we dig down, we're gonna
hit water. Right, right.
We swimming with the fishes, right?
That's why they say that, right?
Yeah, that's why we say that. Oh, okay, because we're always swimming with the fishes. But the long-term care, I used to hear, I had a financial, an advisor back in the 80s when I was in California. And I remember doing that structure, but when you're not raised with that, it's really hard. You go, why do I have to put money aside? And you don't see the benefit right now. That's that's why I say long-term care is putting money aside, so when you get older, right, and say you have an affliction with dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that, right, that you be able to still live your life.
Right, and again, I always laugh because when I grew up, I mean, I was the '80s. That was high school and college for me, and that's 40 years ago, right?
Right.
You don't think
Yeah.
about it 40 years ago. A lot of things have changed, and you mentioned the '80s, so I'm just going to say, like
Yeah.
my mom, that's when she bought her long-term care. So when she bought it, there was really one way of buying it, and that was making monthly payments or yearly payments. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And that was the big hang up for a lot of years.
Okay.
And as the newer generation was coming along, they said, why would I buy this product that have no possibly benefit if I pass away? I just wasted all this money. I paid all this insurance. Everybody hates to pay insurance.
Yeah.
So, and then when you try and collect on it, they don't want to pay you.
Right.
But long-term care, they developed over the last, I'll say even 15 years, new products for the newer generation, knowing that they wouldn't want to pay for something they wouldn't use. So what they did is they either took life insurance or they took an annuity and they put living benefits attached to it.
Okay.
So if you buy, let's say, a life insurance policy, okay, and if you do need care, you can pull out either part of the death benefit, or there's living benefits that are in there
okay.
that now you can use with still keeping a death benefit. So there's
very
value.
good.
There's always
okay,
value,
there's value
to
in it,
it.
so you're not losing it.
Same
and
thing.
I know there's different types of life insurance. I actually got licensed as a life insurance agent. But I'm not a salesperson.
Right.
I
No,
can't
it's
sell
hard.
life.
Yeah.
But I took the test and I passed it. I did a boot camp on a weekend,
Right.
and I took all that stuff. So I know a little bit about different, plans, whole life and
Right.
term and things like that.
And what's really neat today, especially if the 60 to 70-year-olds that are out there that might have had some type of qualified money, meaning qualified IRA money or pension money, there are now insurance products where you can roll that money that has gains in it. Forget about the last week or
Right.
two or last
Right.
couple months, but whatever gains are in there, you can roll that into one of these products and it can come out tax-free. Because of the laws that were passed. The Pension Protection Act says that you can, anything that's coming out of these long-term care, if you convert something into a long-term care approved policy, it will come out tax-free if you use it for long-term care. So there are plenty places to put the money and protect it, tax-deferred, tax-free, and now we're calling them investments as opposed to expenses.
Okay.
Right? Because everybody says
Right.
long-term care is an expense. But if you consider it an investment that could help you tax-wise.
Who doesn't want to do that?
Right.
Because how many people are paying a lot of taxes? We're all paying taxes.
Right.
That'll never go away.
Right. They say death and taxes, but here's a way to avoid some of your
gasoline.
taxes. Right. That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show.
Right. So that's my passion is really about long-term care, seeing what my dad went through, seeing even though I can do all the planning, we still had to spend couple $100,000 out of pocket until my mom allowed me to do what I needed to do to protect my dad in the nursing home. I got their expenses that were $22,000 a month between both of them down to less than $1,000 out of pocket.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah, and that's using the government benefits, that's using her long-term care, which we were able then to finally turn on, using their Social Securities. And then really by the time everything was said and done, we were really spending literally $1,000 coming out of their assets that they had. And it was incredible. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. Why are they protecting them? Well, my dad worked his whole life from the age of 13, 12, 14 hours a day, and to blow all that money on care at the end.
Oh, no, that's ridiculous. And a lot of people out there, most people don't have that kind of money.
Right.
So I don't have $100,000 to just go, oh, here you go.
Right.
And when my father was sick here too, I brought him from Puerto Rico here, and he was ill because here he had better care than over there.
Right.
And there was a lot of things. I wish I knew all this stuff because there was so many things that he needed, and his wife was bipolar, and that was a whole nother gamma, and that's a whole nother episode. Let me tell you, dealing with mental health, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
But this is just great information. I hope everybody out there reach out to Paul. I'll have his information on my website, on this link to the show on YouTube and all the podcast platforms. Will have information about Paul and how you can reach out to him. And think about this. Everybody out there has a parent. I know several people right now that are going through it right now and they need help. So here's the person that can help you. and Luhu, let us help you.
Luhu Advisors.
And Luhu Advisors. And just quickly, next week on June 21st, I will have Milan Robinson. She does nutrition naturally. Nutrient naturally. Sorry, I can't say it correctly. She's assisting children to establish healthy eating habits and reverse illnesses. Because that's where we need to start, is with the children. So what I'm going to do is, now we were talking about seniors, I'm going to regress now and go start from the beginning so we can have wellness starting with our children. And she's a perfect example because she's doing with her own child. So that'll be a great show next week. So stay tuned for next Tuesday for Rebooted the Podcast. And thanks for coming out and checking us out. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Rebooted the Podcast to learn about each episode's guests and topics. This is your host, Alita Hernandez. See you next Tuesday.